Have you ever found yourself staring out the window, wondering where the day went, or what you used to fill your time with before everything slowed down? Maybe the phone rings less than it used to, or the calendar isn't quite as full. And sometimes, even when the house is quiet and peaceful, you can't help but feel a little disconnected. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. A lot of people over 70 experience this quiet shift, from busy schedules and constant responsibilities to a slower rhythm of life. For some, it's a welcome change. But for others, it can feel like life is shrinking a little around the edges. Maybe it's not sadness exactly, but more of a question: what now? What's next for me? Here's the good news: engagement. That spark of curiosity, connection, and purpose doesn't retire just because you did. In fact, staying engaged after 70 is one of the best things you can do for your health, your happiness, and your sense of identity. And it's never too late to rediscover what lights you up inside. So in this video, we're going to talk about how to stay engaged and connected to life after 70, in ways that are meaningful, enjoyable, and most importantly, doable. You don't need to start skydiving or climb a mountain, unless you want to. These are real, simple habits and mindset shifts that can help you feel more alive, more involved, and more fulfilled each day. Let's start with something that might surprise you: your curiosity. You see, one of the most underrated ways to stay engaged is to keep asking questions. And I don't mean big, philosophical questions like, what is the meaning of life? Though those are fine too. I mean the little, everyday wonders. Like, what's that bird that keeps showing up on the fence? Or, how do you make homemade sourdough bread? Or even, what's this TikTok thing my grandkids keep talking about? Curiosity is the engine that keeps your mind young. When you follow your curiosity, even if it's just for 10 minutes a day, you're giving your brain a chance to stay active, nimble, and interested in the world. And it doesn't have to be complicated. Maybe you start reading articles about a place you've always wanted to visit, or you learn how to use a new app on your phone, or you try your hand at painting, even if you haven't held a brush since high school. The key is to choose things that you care about, not what someone else thinks you should be doing. When your curiosity leads the way, boredom has a much harder time sneaking in. So if you've ever felt like your days are blurring together, try waking up with a question in mind, something small you want to explore that day. You'd be amazed how that tiny shift can bring energy back into your routine. Now, let's talk about something equally powerful: connection. And no, I don't just mean family dinners or visits from the grandkids, though those are wonderful. I'm talking about the kind of connection that makes you feel seen, heard, and valued for who you are now, not just who you used to be. It's easy to assume that friendship gets harder as we get older. People move away, relationships change, and some dear friends may no longer be with us. But the truth is, connection is always available, if we're open to it. That might mean saying hello to someone new at the community center, striking up a conversation at the grocery store, or even joining an online group with folks who share your interests. And let's not underestimate the power of small interactions. A quick chat with a neighbor about the weather, or asking the barista how their day is going. These tiny moments add up. They remind us that we're part of something larger. We're still in the mix. We still matter. If you've been feeling isolated, know this: you're not being silly or weak for craving connection. It's a fundamental human need. And it's never too late to build new friendships, to reconnect with old ones, or even to deepen your relationship with yourself. Sometimes, staying engaged begins with simply allowing yourself to be open to others again. Now I want to bring up something that's both powerful and deeply personal: purpose. For many years, purpose might have come from your career, your role as a parent, or the goals you were striving toward. But what happens when those chapters begin to fade into the background? It's tempting to think that our sense of purpose fades with them. But here's the truth: purpose isn't tied to age. It's tied to meaning. And meaning can be found in the smallest of actions. You might find it in the way you care for your garden, the advice you give to a younger friend, or the way you make someone smile just by being yourself. Your presence, your wisdom, your humor, your kindness still makes a difference. And discovering or redefining your purpose doesn't have to be some big, dramatic process. It can be as simple as asking, "What do I want to contribute today?" Or, "Who can I lift up, even in a small way?" Some folks find purpose in volunteering, others in creative work, like writing or crafts. Some in mentoring, caregiving, or simply being the one who always remembers birthdays. The form it takes isn't important. What matters is that it feels meaningful to you. When you combine curiosity, connection, and purpose, even just a little bit of each, something beautiful begins to happen. The days feel fuller. Your spirit feels lighter. And that quiet question of what now starts to turn into what's next. Now, let's talk about something that often gets overlooked: the simple joy of routine with a twist. You might be thinking, routine? That sounds boring. But hear me out. Routine gives us structure, a comforting rhythm to our day. And after 70, having a reliable routine can help reduce stress, boost memory, and give a sense of stability. But here's the key: don't let your routine become a rut. The twist is where the magic happens. Even the smallest changes can reawaken your senses and break that feeling of autopilot. Maybe you try taking your morning walk in the opposite direction, or cook a new recipe once a week, or sit on a different bench at the park and just observe the world from a fresh angle. One woman I know started writing short stories every Sunday, just for herself. Another gentleman decided to learn how to play the harmonica, not because he planned to perform, but because it brought him back to a piece of his childhood. These aren't big, flashy changes, but they make life feel more alive, more textured, more your own. Think of it like this: routine keeps your feet on the ground, but variety keeps your heart interested. You don't need to throw everything out the window, just sprinkle in a bit of the unexpected now and then. It's amazing how much that keeps the mind and spirit engaged. And speaking of the spirit, let's move into another area that plays a huge role in staying engaged: movement. I'm not just talking about exercise for the sake of staying fit, although that's important too. I mean using your body as a way to stay in touch with life itself. After 70, it's not about pushing yourself like you're training for a marathon. It's about enjoying the movement that feels good for your body and keeps you connected to the physical world. Gentle stretching in the morning, dancing in your kitchen while your favorite song plays, taking a slow walk and actually noticing the trees, the birds, the breeze. These are all forms of meaningful movement. There's something healing about moving with intention, especially when you're doing it not to fix something, but to feel something. To feel your muscles working, your breath deepening, your posture straightening. Movement reminds us that we're still here, still capable, still part of the rhythm of life. And if mobility is a challenge, there are still plenty of ways to stay active. Chair yoga, light strength exercises, even simple arm stretches can do wonders. The goal isn't to be perfect, it's to stay present. Every little bit counts. And the more we move, the more we tend to smile, sleep better, and feel emotionally lighter. That brings us to something very close to the heart: self-expression. You see, as we go through life, especially in our older years, there's a tendency to focus on what we've lost, whether that's people, routines, or even roles we once filled. But what we often forget is how much we've gained. Perspective, resilience, insight, creativity. Now is a perfect time to let those things come out in the open. Have you ever wanted to write down the story of your life, not for a publisher, just for your children, your grandchildren, or even for yourself? Have you wanted to paint, not because you're trying to become an artist, but because colors make you feel something? Have you ever thought of recording a video message to your future great-grandchildren? Expressing yourself keeps the emotional part of your life vibrant. It's not about being impressive. It's about being honest. Whether it's writing, crafting, gardening, singing, baking, storytelling, when you make something that comes from inside of you, you're saying to the world, "I'm still here. I still have something to say." And don't worry if it's not perfect. That's never the point. The point is engagement. Letting your feelings and ideas flow into something real, something tangible, something you can look at and say, "Yes, that came from me." And just like that, with a little curiosity, a touch of connection, a spark of purpose, and some movement and expression, life starts to open up again. Not in the same way it used to, and maybe not as fast, but in a way that feels meaningful and right for who you are today. We sometimes forget that life after 70 is not about slowing down into nothingness. It's about evolving into a version of ourselves that's deeper, more relaxed, and beautifully aware. It's about choosing how you want to spend your energy, who you want to give your time to, and what truly lights you up. You've earned the right to be selective with your days. But don't let that turn into isolation. Keep reaching, even in small ways. Keep wondering. Keep creating. Keep noticing. That's what engagement really is, staying awake to your life. All of it. There's another piece to this puzzle that can quietly shape how engaged you feel, and that's your relationship with time. After 70, time can take on a different texture. Some days stretch out endlessly, while others seem to slip by in a blink. You might find yourself thinking more often about the past, remembering old songs, old places, the feel of certain seasons. Or perhaps you notice how your awareness of each moment has become sharper, more precious. This shift in how we experience time can actually be a gift, if we let it be. You see, staying engaged isn't just about filling time. It's about being with time. That might sound a bit poetic, but it's true. Try this. Instead of trying to stay busy, try staying present. When you drink your coffee in the morning, really taste it. When you speak to someone, really listen. When you look out at the trees or the sky, take it in like it's the first time. Now let's talk about something that isn't always easy, but it's important: letting go of perfection. For many of us, there's this quiet pressure that lingers to age gracefully, to stay sharp, to be strong, to never ask for help. But this idea of perfection can be a sneaky thief. It can rob you of the joy of trying something new, or the comfort of saying, "I don't know how to do this, but I'd like to learn." Staying engaged after 70 doesn't mean you need to have it all figured out. It doesn't mean you have to master every technology, or win a medal for active aging. It just means you show up as you are, with curiosity, kindness, and a willingness to keep going. One of the most freeing things you can do for yourself is to embrace imperfection. Laugh at your mistakes. Celebrate your efforts. Be proud of the fact that you're still growing, still learning, still seeking joy. That's not failure, that's life. And the more you lean into it, the more you realize how much possibility still exists. And here's a beautiful truth: your presence, just as it is, matters more than you know. To your family, to your friends, to your community. You carry stories, experiences, and wisdom that no one else does. You may not always see it, but others do. Sometimes, staying engaged means allowing yourself to be appreciated, to be cared for, to be part of something, without needing to do anything extraordinary. You've already lived through decades of change, of loss and gain, of laughter and heartache. You've adapted, grown, and made it to a place that many people never reach. That alone is a quiet triumph. And from that place, you still have the power to create, connect, and contribute, in ways big or small. Maybe you offer encouragement to someone younger. Maybe you share a memory that opens up a conversation. Maybe you simply sit beside someone who needs company. These moments, often unseen, are the threads that hold the world together. So if you ever feel like life has passed you by, stop. Take a breath. Look around. Life is still happening. Right now. And you're a part of it. The truth is, staying engaged after 70 isn't about doing more. It's about doing what feels right. What feels true. What keeps your heart open and your mind alive. So today, just today, try one small thing. Revisit a hobby. Call an old friend. Write down a memory. Smile at a stranger. Sit quietly and feel the sun on your face. That's engagement. That's living. Because this chapter of life, this one right here, is just as important, just as meaningful, as any that came before it. And you get to choose how it's written. You don't need to be anyone else. You just need to be you. Fully. honestly, beautifully. And if this message has touched something in you, I'd love to hear about it. Share your thoughts or your own ideas in the comments. Tell us how you're staying engaged in your life. You never know who your story might inspire. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, and if you'd like more heart-to-heart conversations like this, hit that subscribe button. There's so much more to explore together. Thank you for spending this time with me today. It means more than you know. Here's to living your best, most connected life, at every age, but especially now. You're not done yet. In fact, maybe you're just getting started.